So today I'm going to be showing you how to make your foundation last a really long time and just look amazing and flawless. So this doesn't mean you have to use a ton of foundation. It doesn't mean that you have to spend hours and hours in the morning. It's really quick, it's really easy, and it's pretty much doable for every skin type. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you aren't subscribed to my channel already, then please click the button down below just so you can see the upcoming videos that I have to offer, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, hey guys, so we're gonna start off by just moisturizing and priming the face. So this first tip is going to be really crucial. This is pretty much the biggest tip I have for making your makeup last a lot longer, and it's really quick. It's something I do pretty much every morning. So I'm just going to take my moisturizer, and I'm just taking about maybe a bean size or so, and I'm just going to rub it all over my face. Now you got to remember, even if you have oily skin, combo skin, whatever you have, you need to still be moisturizing your face because you really need that base for your makeup to really stick to. So once you got that really nice and rubbed into your skin, you're going to right away not let it dry at all, and you're going to take your primer. Again, I'm taking about a pea size this time, just a little bit less, and I'm going to first press it into the spots where my pores are the most enlarged. I'm just going to press it and then blend it outwards because typically the outside of the face doesn't need as much smoothing over as the center of the face. Alright, so once you rub that in, you don't let it dry whatsoever, and you're going to take a translucent powder. Any translucent powder will do, but you got to make sure you're not using a compact one. It needs to be a loose powder or else it will not work. So I'm going to take a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to dip it into the translucent powder and start working it all over my face. Now I'm not being neat or whatsoever on this. I'm just spreading this all over my face just to set both the moisturizer and the primer to prolong your makeup. Then we can go ahead and move on to foundation right away. We didn't have to wait at all to have the moisturizer or primer sink in. We just get to right away do it. And that's why I like to do this every morning, because it's honestly really fast. So today I'm going to be mixing two foundations. I typically like to use two foundations. It's not really anything special. You could use whatever you like. So these two foundations that I'm mixing right here, I'm just going to place them on the center of my face, just everywhere where I know needs the most coverage. I'm not going to really focus it on like the outer parts. I'm going to blend it to the outer parts of my face, but I'm not going to focus it there because, as you can see, the most redness and acne is in the center, and that's typical for most people. So the brush I'm going to be using, it doesn't actually have a name, but this, other than the brush I used to powder with, is also from the same collection, from the same set that I got, and I'm going to make a video on this soon because I have so much to say about these. Sigma has nothing on these brushes. They are so cheap, so ridiculously cheap, and they're so good. And no, they're not from Morphe. They're even more cheap, and I can't wait to show you guys. But if you do want to check them out before I post the next video, I will have the link down below where you can buy this brush set. So this foundation that I'm buffing all over my face is only about a medium coverage. I know I have a lot of redness in my face and a lot of acne I want to cover up, and if you have a lot more than me or you just really like full coverage, then you can go ahead and use a full coverage foundation. But what I like to do is I like to go in with a medium coverage and just pat it in the spots that I need the most coverage and buff it all over the face and focus it a little more in the areas that I need it. But the next step when I go into highlight is going to cover a lot more. So I honestly don't need that much foundation. I don't need to be caking up my skin. And the reason I go in with concealer on my blemishes and stuff afterward, after I put on my foundation, because I really don't believe in putting concealer underneath your foundation, because you're already getting a lot of coverage from the foundation, and if you're using concealer beforehand, you don't know how much you're going to really need, how much the foundation is going to cover up. And when you're blending in the foundation, it's going to blend away all the concealer that you put on underneath, and it's just going to cake up, and it's not good. So I really recommend, if you do have a few blemishes like me, waiting until after you put on your foundation and all your other steps, and then going in with a concealer and touching up any spots that weren't fully covered. So I did not use that much foundation at all, and I just mainly used it for the color to just blend it all over the face. And you can see it did cover the redness a little bit, and I made sure to also blend it down my neck. Always, always, always blend down your neck. That's one of the biggest tips I can give. Not only down the neck, but into the hairline. I like to actually pull my hair, not like pull my hair, but lift it up and just blend it right into the roots when there's just a little bit on my brush so that it doesn't get all over my hair. But this really ensures that there's no mask and lines, because that can really make foundation look fake. Even if your foundation looks really HD and skin-like, it's still gonna look fake if there's any lines. So then I'm actually going to be going in with 2 concealers. This is optional, but I like to use these 2 because one is a little bit dry and I have very dry skin, and the other one is quite moisturizing, but I like the coverage when they're put together, and so I'm using both. And I'm just going to place this in the center of my face, and this is my highlight. And not only just a highlight, I do this every single day because usually my foundation doesn't cover everything, and I like it like that. I don't want my foundation to cover everything because that's when you start looking a little bit cakey. And so I like to use this highlighter, or this just concealer highlight, just to cover more, because as I said before, I do have a lot of acne and redness in the center of my face, and that's where I'm placing the highlight anyway, and because it's concealer, it's gonna cover up. So I like to also put it underneath my nose because women tend to get really, you know, red underneath there just because of hormonal crap and stuff, and just by my mouth. And as you can see, it's just, you know, on the center of my face. And I'm not putting it to, you know, perfectly, because we're going to blend it out anyway. It doesn't need to be perfect. And so I'm going to take another brush from that same set. And this, it's so freaking good. I can't stress it enough. I really, really hope you guys check that set out because it works so good. So I'm not going to be blending in circles or anything with this one because it does have a point. I like to just pat it on its side, and if it gets a little too, you know, gathered on the side, then I like to turn it. And I'm really going to focus this concealer not only right underneath my eye, but right into the hollow right here, because that's where it tends to be very, very dark, and that's when you can look like you didn't have a lot of sleep, and because it can look gray and sunken in and not do justice for your eyes. So you always want to try to cover up that spot. Even if you do have eyeshadow on, go ahead and still go over that spot. It's okay if it covers up your eyeshadow a little bit, because your eyeshadow actually shouldn't be going all the way to there. I'm just going to be blending that underneath my eyes on both sides. And I also like to carry it right down to the tip of my nose and up. The reason I like to go in this kind of upward triangle motion is because it really helps lift the cheekbone. Make sure you drag it down and not only keep it right there, because that again can accentuate the bag. I'm going to go back to my normal foundation brush just to quickly blend out the chin and by the nose, because I mainly only use that brush underneath my eyes because it is pointed. And with my concealer, I like to pat a little more than rub, because then it can add a little bit more coverage and keep the foundation in the concentrated areas that I want. More coverage. Okay, so now, as you can see, I still haven't covered up absolutely everything, but I have covered up a lot of the scarring and the redness, and it is okay if you have a little bit of redness showing through. You gotta remember that foundation is just meant to really blend everything out. Blend out the imperfections, and it's not really meant to mask your face. So now that I have a few blemishes showing through, I am going to cover those, and I do go in with that same concealer, but if it doesn't work good enough, I like to go in with this heavy duty concealer because it really works to just stay all day. Okay, now I'm just gonna take another brush from that line. It's almost like a flat kabuki, but a little one. It's so cute. And I'm just gonna dip that right into the concealer and just focus it right onto the blemishes. You can also use your finger for this, but when you do this, try not to just pat directly on it, because then you're actually taking off the concealer from the top and it's not going to look very good. So try to just pack the color right onto it and blend around it, just so you can ensure it is completely covered and no redness is showing through. Also, if your concealer does not completely match the color of your foundation, what you can do is mix the concealer with the foundation a little bit. It will dilute the formula a tiny bit and it won't be as pigmented, but it's better to have it a little less pigmented than to have it a different color, because you don't want a different colored splotch around your pimple because it will look even more obvious. And your foundation will cover a lot of beauty marks usually, and so like I have a mole right here, and if you want to make your foundation look a little more realistic, you could just take a Q-tip and just take it right off the mole, and so it shows a little more. And actually, it seems like such a small little useless step, but it actually will make your foundation look a lot more natural because it's not covering up every beauty mark on your face. So I wouldn't say that the foundation is completely set. It is pretty dry, but it is not completely dry, if that makes sense. And so this is another tip that I have for making your foundation last a lot longer. So you're going to take a tissue and you're just going to split it in half, just like that. And you're going to take the tissue and just press it real gently all over the face. And what this is going to do is you have excess oil either coming from your skin or even from the foundation. And so what this is going to do is it's just going to absorb that excess oil that's going to slowly make your makeup slide off during the day. So if you have oily skin, this is a really great way to prevent the oil from coming into the foundation real early in the day. And this is a final step. If you have dry skin like me, I really wouldn't recommend powdering your face. You absolutely can, honestly, I do a lot, but if you have really dry, flaky skin, don't powder. But if you do have combo skin, oily skin, or even normal skin, go back in with that big brush. Don't swirl it all over the face because that's actually going to lift up the foundation you just put on, and it's going to cause a little bit of redness to show through, and you don't want that. You just want everything to stay put and be set. So you're just going to pat it all over the face. And if you want to use a smaller, more condensed brush, just so you have a little more precision with it, then go ahead and do that. And it really doesn't matter how much you use. I don't recommend piling powder on your face just because you use that foundation to really just cover everything, so you don't need a powder to cover everything. So that's why I'm using the translucent powder again, because it doesn't add any more coverage. And I'm just using enough to make my entire face dry. Well, not dry, but it sets the foundation. Okay, and then that can be your last step. If you have super oily skin, I really wouldn't completely recommend using this. I'm not sure how well it would work for you. You can give it a try, however, but this is amazing. What it basically does is it takes all the powder and all of the product on your skin and it just sucks it in, makes everything look really natural and not powdery or clinging to any specific spots. I don't know what it does. It just really smooths out everything and makes it look like your actual skin. So I'm just gonna hold it about arm's length and I'm just going to move my head and it's gonna look really funny. Ready for it? And so then I'm just going to let it dry. And you can always fan your face. I just do this when I'm in a really big hurry in the morning. I'm like, dry! But honestly, it doesn't matter all that much because it does dry pretty fast. And so at this point, then you can go ahead and finish with your makeup. After applying this, I recommend just letting your makeup sit in a little bit before you try vigorously blending bronzer or blush all over your face because it might remove the foundation. Now, if you're like me and sometimes this honestly happens almost every day, I have very defined lines, especially my smile lines. My foundation always tends to sink into them. So I'm going to take a beauty blender or a miracle sponge, whatever you have, and I'm just going to spray it with the Fix Plus spray. And it can be just a damp sponge too, but I like to use a Fix Plus spray. Go ahead and just pat those spots. You don't have to rub because you don't want to remove any of the foundation. Just gently pat those spots And not when you're smiling or anything, you want it to be flat. And you're just going to pat them so that those lines just blend out and they don't sink back into the lines throughout the day. Alright, so I finished up my makeup, and yeah, so this is the finished look. I hope you guys liked it. As you can tell, it's not the most full coverage. I really just like to wear this, you know, when I'm having those days where I need the full coverage. That didn't make any sense. I like to wear these on days when I really need my foundation to last a long time because I'm going to be gone all day. But if you are using this for a formal prom or even just a night out, then all you have to do to make this a full coverage is just use a full coverage foundation. That's about it. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will have that video coming up where I talk about these amazing brushes. And so yeah, I hope you guys liked it, and make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll stop talking. So yeah, bye. Got lipstick on my hand.
I don't know why I just did that. So, Christmas. Guys, look at my Christmas stuff in the bag. Isn't it so cute?